Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim, and our guest today is Mark Samuel. So Mark, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Mark Samuel, I'm in the Bay Area, California, and I'm the founder of IWON Organics.
Awesome. So can you just tell us more about what IWON Organics is all about and really just how you got the idea to start this company?
Sure. We're a plant-based snack company, and I had the idea of a protein snack about 7 or 8 years ago, and I wanted it to be a savory snack. I wanted it to be organic and legume-based, so potentially a snack that was made with peas and or beans, and that's how we got it going, and that was what we did.
Awesome. So how do you go about creating a snack that not only tastes good but is also healthy? I think that there's like a lot of challenges. For example, now when you go to 7-Eleven or like a local grocery store, it's hard to find that really good combination.
Yeah, I mean, in today's environment, I think you can. You just gotta know what you're looking for. Years ago, or at least when we started, finding a salty or a savory snack that was high in protein that tasted good was hard. There were products that were coming out at the time that just didn't do well. And as far as the sweet side, there was protein-esque type bars that were being produced. Again, a lot of them didn't do well, and even to today, a lot of them aren't very good. But over time, I think through manufacturing and playing around with ingredients and what works and what doesn't, I think you can find some good options out there.
Awesome. So in terms of your product specifically, it's like how much R&D did it really take for you to find this perfect formula right now that you're selling on your website and in stores?
Well, our first product was a protein chip. And the R&D was really just me learning about manufacturing and what products would, as far as ingredients, were working in combination to make that product. So I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, our first product was probably a 4. And then I, had done some more R&D, and some months later we got it to a 5, and then a little bit later we potentially got it to about a 6, 6.5. But that's just not something that could be sold long term as a brand and or product that's attached to the brand. For you to have success, you really do need your product to be a 9 or a 10. So luckily we had moved into extruded snacks, and I had learned about the process of extruding, and I was able to nail a product that worked right out the gate. And that's our core product, which is our extruded puffs and sticks line that people know us for.
Awesome. So where are you typically selling this product? Like what percent of your business is e-commerce versus in retail today?
Yeah, 80% we sell in store, and then 20% is on Amazon or our website. So we're national, 5 regions of Whole Foods and Sprouts and Wegmans and Vitamin Shop, a lot of the regional players around the country. So we've been lucky with distribution, and there's a lot of room to grow those. So we'll be looking for growth hopefully next year.
In terms of growth, like what is your goal? Like what is your current monthly revenue, and what are you looking to get to by next year?
Yeah, we don't disclose revenue, but we sell millions of dollars a year in snacks, and the goal today is different than we thought it would be. Our goal today is just to stay alive. The market has been really tough for everybody, so we've been okay with having a flat business to really get through all these capital constraints that we've had. So if we can find the right capital sources, find the right partnerships, we'll be able to sort of move the needle back up to where we were going before all of that. So that's really the low-hanging goals as of right now.
What would you say is kind of like the challenge, that's kind of, holding you back? You mentioned obviously it's not a good economy now, but like what is really kind of like holding you back from getting to your goal for next year?
Yeah, it would be that. I mean, it's just capital. I've never really aligned it with a bad economy, because our economy is actually not doing that bad. Right. High interest rates and the like, it is what it is, but it's more of right. Capital constraints. So a lot of the money that was being thrown into our vertical, as in many other verticals, has sort of been turned off right. and or allocated to existing brands or products that were sitting in portfolios that they had already invested in. So it's just a completely different time, and it's harder to attract capital for brands that is specifically brands that are flat or smaller than they want them to be.
Makes sense. So if you were to raise more money today, what would you use that capital for?
It would really just be for working capital. I mean, we're really lucky. We're even at our size, which we consider ourselves small, we don't look like most of the companies out there. There's a lot of burning going on, and it has been going on for many years. So when I look at our P&L versus someone else's, you go, oh wow, actually IWON's not doing that bad. And so for us, it's really about working capital. We need a bigger line there so that we can produce more inventory, so that we have more to sell. As far as you want to be able to allocate some for sales and marketing, there's no doubt about it, but we're pretty tempered when it comes to that. So we don't need an excess amount of money to push on those levers.
Right. So when it comes to more product, if you were to get more product today, would you just ramp up your e-commerce channel? Like, what would you really do with that more product that you would go ahead and can produce if you raise more money?
Yeah, it would be, there's a lot that could be thrown at the e-com. So we're short and off on Amazon business because we have shortages on inventory. So a lot would be allocated there so we can get our numbers back to where they were before this. And then the rest is just, again, being able to fill POs when they come in. So for us, we've always been sort of a make in time scenario. You don't really want to be in that situation all the time. It doesn't make for good business. So it's just doing catch up work.
Makes sense. So in terms of e-commerce, like, what do you see? There's this big, I guess, kind of debate, right? Because you have Amazon and you have selling direct to consumer from your website, because Amazon is not exactly direct to consumer. So how do you kind of leverage those two channels?
Yeah, we consider Amazon direct to consumer because you are selling direct to consumer, and it's 95% of our direct business. We lever the same way we did before, which is we just do it organically. We don't spend much on Amazon like others do. I mean, it's why we can pull points from Amazon. So we have a profitable channel there, and there's not a lot of folks who sell products like ours in our format and or price range that can say that. And that's because they're continuing to acquire customers and or spend and pull the spend lever. We just don't have the ability to do that. So it just makes for organic growth. And that's what we'd continue to do. And we were always fine with that.
So can you just talk more about this organic growth? I think that many people always think they need to spend tons of money on sales and marketing. And you mentioned that you're doing it more organically. So how have you been able to really be successful in this area where many people fall short?
You have to have a good product. And I'm always like an arm's length away, even though I have to say it, right? No, we just have a really amazing product. It's not me saying it. It's 4.6 stars of thousands review on Amazon. It's moms at the soccer field who tell me I buy your snacks all the time. So you have to start there, and people really miss that one. Even though it's really low hanging, it should be right in front of your face. You have to have a really great tasting product. If there's a nutritional component to it, those are just bells, the cherries, all the good stuff that rings on top of it. So when that happens, you can sell organically. You have people who are buying it online and they will repeat that purchase. So that's number one. Number two is those people tell their friends. So that's where organic growth happens. Number three is if you have retail distribution, the retail distribution and customers who are buying there are oftentimes buying online too. So again, if you put those three things together, you're usually going to find organic growth.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it's like lots of people have very good products, right? But it's like if nobody hears about them, then it's not really, it doesn't really make a difference, right? So there's probably some level of, even when you first got started, of going and whether doing pop-ups, in markets, or even a certain level of advertising, because obviously it's like you have to kind of start somewhere. So what did that look like for you in the early days?
Yeah, we really didn't. We didn't do the pop-ups. We did in-store demos. Specifically we finally got into a region of Whole Foods. I remember we did some demos there, but it was like us. Once in a while we had hired some folks. So things like that were working. I'm sure we were spending, paying to play a little bit on Amazon, hey, what's your ACOS? And all right, let's spend so you're dipping into the, sort of the marketing budget to kind of push the brand, but there wasn't really anything beyond that other than, again, getting some retail distribution, which helps, because that is marketing in itself. You're on a shelf, somebody sees it, somebody may pick up the bag. Even if they don't buy it there, they have a sort of a block there, as far as a memory, and they may buy it later online.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I feel like, especially with products that you're selling, retail is so critical. And obviously, you're kind of talking about this opportunity like of e-com. So in terms of, I think you said 95% is currently because it's like on Amazon. So are you looking to increase your non-Amazon e-com? Because Amazon obviously does take, lots of money in fees.
Yeah, no, we're not.
Okay.
Maybe we're not. We're not, because you'd have to spend to do that, and there's no money to make direct on your website. So again, unless it's an organic acquisition. So, which happens, we have people that buy from our website. There are people who are on subscription with our website, and that's that.
But do you think it's more of just because you're in a certain product category where it doesn't make sense, or like what makes you think that like your website wouldn't be an efficient channel to, I guess, like ramp up organically? But it's like SEO.
Because I know the financials, right? I know the financials for a product like ours. I know what it costs to ship it. We're shipping air, so of course it depends on what the product is. If you were to give me a pre-workout, that's $60 and it's in a small thing, like what I buy, I could probably make some money there, with an acquisition. Again, that's another competitive set as everything is. But if I were to be selling a bag of electrolytes that's in a smaller format, I don't know why I'm going into supplements. I just really like it.
Yeah.
The margins are gigantic. And so, I can find you some categories that you can sell online. But again, it also depends on whether or not you have a good product, a good brand, a good story. Your copywriting has to be fantastic, and I can keep rifling off why it wouldn't work.
Right. So in terms of like leveraging your current subscriber base, like, are you doing lots of email marketing or email newsletters? Like, do you do like any of that?
Not right now. No. It's not low hanging for us.
Makes sense. What would you say is your top business priority now that we're in Q4 of 2023 because we wrap up this year?
Staying in business.
So what are you doing to make, in terms of like staying in business, it's like in general, it's like, how are you ensuring that you're going to stay in business?
Lifting every single rock that I possibly can and talking to every single person that I possibly can that makes sense as far as offering an opportunity for our brand to continue on the journey that we're on.
Makes sense. So what would you say is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this company?
Oh, there's a lot of scenarios in this particular space in food and beverage that are not in the best interest of the brand, and make it very, very difficult for the brand to survive long term if they do not fundamentally understand all aspects of how the business operates, specifically if you are going to move into and scale into retail. There is a handbook at this point that needs to be applied. And even if you have the handbook, it's no indication of whether or not you will make it past 6 months, 12 months, 18, 36. It's a very, very, very difficult business to have any sort of success in.
Can you just talk about a couple of those things, and just more specifically for somebody who's just starting out in the space, like what, some key things that they should really know?
Margin is key. It's the first thing I talk about. If you do not have margin, you don't have a business. And I'm not really a big fan of we'll have margin when we get to scale. You won't even get to scale. So there's no point in talking about that. I would just be applying simple math to your business day one. Do I have a lot of margin in this business? If I don't, it most likely is not going to work. That's the most important piece.
So when you say a lot of margin, like what number would that be in your head?
North of 50. And if you could be north of 60, I would shoot for that. So that's gross. So if you want to talk about post-trade, which a lot of people like to do, you should still be north of 40.
Yeah.
So that means
sense.
post-trade for everybody. A post-trade means after all sales, marketing, promotions is applied, you're still sitting north of 40% margin. It just is what it is. It's simple math.
So do you think that like the most, I mean, or I guess for what you've seen, like the most successful brands are in that category?
No, they're not. They just have a lot of money.
That makes sense. Yeah.
No, nobody's making money. So no, I mean, it's just facts. So no, there are quote unquote successful brands that burn tens of millions of dollars a month because they have shit margin. It just so happens they have so much money, capital already into the business. And those same people who wrote checks have to continue to float that business. There really is no kill switch. So there has to be continuing on the road or journey that they're on. Now, I won't say that they're not operated by smart folks who are selling the story of the fact that they can get to another element of scale somehow and eke out some cash. But again, it's there's not a lot of really healthy businesses that are being operated.
Makes sense. So if we're going to chat again in 1 year from now, where do you see things going for your business?
I just hope that we're in a spot that's almost where we are or where we were going. As far as distribution, our online method, the product offerings being really concise and focused, just offering an excellent product to the consumers who buy us and who are going to continue to buy us. Our margins are strong, and that we're kicking out cash even at what we consider to be a small business with regards to revenue. If we can do that and find ourselves some comfort there, I think we'll be fine, because then from there you just continue to grow at the pace that you want to. I think that's a really comforting spot for us.
Makes sense. Well, Mark, we're rooting for you. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out, do you mind sharing your website or social media handles, just the best way for somebody to get in contact with you?
Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn at Mark's, just look up Mark Samuel. I'll probably pop up. And then we're at IWONOrganics.com. We're on Thrive and Amazon for direct. And then they can find us in all the retailers that I mentioned.
Awesome. Well, Mark, thank you so much for your time today. It was my pleasure.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks. All right. Bye.